All right, in this video, we're going to talk about FTX, its collapse, and where we go from here if you are involved in a FTX collapse or in cryptocurrency. So stay tuned. We're going to talk about that in this episode of Retire Younger podcast. My name is Allan Roberts, and I'll be your host here at the Retire Younger podcast. Today's episode, we're going to talk about FTX, its collapse, and where we go from here. We're going to go all the way down the rabbit hole, what we know so far, and what we can learn from this crazy collapse of FTX. If you don't know, FTX is a crypto exchange form. It's basically like a bank where people place their money into an account on FTX, and then they can take that cryptocurrency and either exchange it for other cryptocurrencies. Let's say you want to go from Bitcoin to Ether, or you want to take your currency and place it into an investment where you get yields. And so ideally, what FTX was supposed to be is just a bank that was going to give you up to 8% return for just holding your money in their account at FTX. And so what has happened is that since digital currency is not regulated, or crypto is not regulated by the governments, because it's in the internet, and governments haven't passed laws or been able to do international law to regulate cryptocurrency because it's international. Um, it goes back to the old days of when in the United States we used to have banks, and anybody could open a bank, and it wasn't regulated, and it wasn't um, there were no restrictions or laws uh, on what banks could do or couldn't do. And so what would happen is people would deposit their money in these bank accounts, and then they would go bust and people would lose all their money. Well, the same thing has happened here, since it's just like the old bank days. But there's an extra component to this particular uh, exchange that is different than might be going on at different exchanges. We don't know. The other thing, since it's not regulated, they don't report to any government agency. So their books are kept private, and so we really don't know exactly what's going on inside the company. But FTX came on the scene in 2019, and then very quickly got a lot of deposits because of the 8% uh, return on their money, and so they got celebrity endorsements, um, and even the United States government got involved. The government of Ukraine got involved. Um, the Miami Heat signed a lease with FTX to for their uh, their stadium in Miami for 19 years. So now they're on the hook for that. The founder, Sam, uh, put on his persona that he was, well, he's an MIT graduate, to find out that his mother's on the board of MIT, and his father's an attorney for the SEC, which is the Securities and Exchange Commission. So he's a lawyer. So uh, leveraging that, uh, he put on the persona of being a genius. But what he described, he talked about endless money, and that he was going to give back and donate back to different charities and help the world, because he figured out a system to have endless supply of money. Um, which basically goes back to the old Ponzi scheme, right? So what happened was, as base level, this was a Ponzi scheme. So a Ponzi scheme is basically you take the deposits from one person and you lend it out to another person, and then you just get more and more accounts. And as you get more and more accounts, you just keep paying for these loans, and people are supposed to pay you back. And so it ends up the last person in is left holding the bag. They don't get their money, or they don't. They lose all their money basically, and because he's loaned out all the money. But it even gets beyond a Ponzi scheme. So we all know that the famous Bernie Madoff story. This is much bigger than this. Involves billions, $20 billion or more in assets that was physically real cash assets, and now is disappeared into Bitcoin heaven, right? And it's gone, and and there's no regulation, so there's no way of getting this money back. But really, what happened here with F, FTX is that, first of all, they weren't supposed to utilize their depositors' money, right? They were just supposed to hold the account open and create a safe environment to put your money in while you were putting it into other exchanges, just like a bank account. You expect your money to be there when you come to use it, right? So, but that's not what they did. They had a second corporation, and what they did was loan money to their second corporation using the deposits from their depositors, and backed it up with a a coin that they developed called FTT, right? FTT was their token coin, right? And they they backed up the loan that they gave to their corporation with this coin that they developed called FTT. And in other words, it's like printing money out of thin air, just like the Federal Reserve does, right? The Federal Reserve prints money out of thin air, and it's backed up by faith, right? Well, it's illegal to print money, right? In every country, right? Only the government or the Federal Reserve, which is not really a part of the government, it's a separate entity that's not governed by the government, so they can make up their own rules, just like in the space of cryptocurrency. But they have proven in history to back up what they say and not create these. Well, they influence a lot of things. They influence inflation, mortgage rates, interest rates. All these things are by the Federal Reserve, right? Well, in cryptocurrency, it's not against the law to create your own currency. That's why we have all these tokens and all these different varieties of tokens and bitcoins and coins, um, because there are no regulations and you can create your own coin, and people give it value by if they invest in it and purchase that particular coin or token. So basically what they did was create these tokens and inflate the value of these tokens to match whatever they lent out in real money to to their other corporation, and replaced it with the backing of this other coin. Now, since FTX, um, well, people were speculating that FTX really doesn't have the liquidity that they determined or said they did. They said they had, $10 billion in liquidity, and it turns out that they had less than 500 million in liquidity. And when people went to take their money back out of their accounts and transfer it to a safe wallet, they they found out that the money wasn't there, and they were locked out of their accounts, and everybody got locked out of their accounts, so no one could withdraw any money. And then it turns out that there was no assets there because it was backed up by this, you know, FTT token, which had no value. Therefore, it was just a it wasn't a supported asset. Plus, Binance was a large holder of the FTT token, and they pulled all their money out of the FTT token, which started the downward slope of the value of that token, and therefore, they couldn't sell it for any value to replace the liquidity that they lost by loaning the money out and then reinvesting that in hundreds of corporations and hundreds of YouTube influencers, um, celebrities, government agencies, and other crypto businesses that were having trouble. So there's a website called crypto.com or crypto, and they offered a Visa debit card, so you could use your cryptocurrency and use that as cash. And so and then it was backed up by your crypto portfolio, and they borrowed 500 million from FTX to stay afloat about 6 months ago, and now they're having trouble because now all that backing is no longer there, and Visa pulled out from supporting them. Um, it even goes all the way up to government level. There's a theory that the Ukraine war and then was funded by the U.S. government, right? Billions of dollars went there for the fighting in that war. Some of that money was coming back through the FTX currency through Ukraine, was coming back. Um, but recently I saw an article saying it was only $1 million that had actually gone through this process. But the system was set up so that the Ukraine government could then pay into FTX through this corporation and kind of give back. And then that money was then donated to the Democratic Party. So it was just a money laundering scheme where the government would pay the Ukraine, and the Ukraine would pay back through this token, and then that money was then donated back to the Democrat Party so they could grow their campaign funds and things like that. That's just a theory, and in reality, we can only prove that there's like $1 million that had gone through this process of going through this token, which is all null and void at this point, anyways, because the token is no longer has any value. So, what we can learn from this whole situation is that it doesn't matter if it's cryptocurrency or real money that we've traditionally used. It's debated whether the money that we currently use has any value either. I mean, it's just on a piece of paper, and if you print a $1 on there as opposed to $100 on there, it's still the value is still the same piece of paper, right? So whatever the value of that paper is, the only difference between a $1 bill and a $100 bill is what's printed on the dollar bill or printed on the bill. And so what's it really backed up by? It's backed up by faith, right? People's belief that it has value. So cryptocurrency is the same thing. It's not tangible. There's no tangible value there. And that's why I don't recommend that people invest in crypto. But I also don't recommend that they buy, depend on the dollar either. And I'll explain why. And so that's why I wrote my book back in 2016. And so I'm going to go into what I believe is a way out of this whole system, and how you might be interested in getting involved with this as well. So there's my face shrinky dinks here. There we go. All right. So if you don't know, I wrote a book back in 2016 called Retire Younger. And in there, I talk about this whole idea of the freedom or having your own money tree where you have this cash flow retirement. And basically, I show you in here how to invest in tangible assets and get a cash flow from those tangible assets, and be able to fund your retirement or get a cash flow where you can live without going to work at a 9 to 5 and um, have it long term. So let me tell you the story about the first chapter in my book, which is how I met my great grandfather when I was 10 years old. And he lived about 8 hours away from me, and I only met him one time. And this one experience really changed my life, and so I share it in the book. And basically, I was 10 years old. My grandma takes me to meet her father, and he was sitting in a chair smoking a pipe, and he had all these clocks on the wall, all these cuckoo clocks. And he puts down his pipe and he says, "You're just in time." And he points at the clocks, and they all start going off, boop, 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 like that. And it was just an amazing, amazing thing to see all these clocks, probably 50 clocks, just going off at the same time. It was just blew my mind at 10 years old. And so after that, he said, "I got something to show you." And so he takes me by the hand and he walks me out to his garden in the backyard. And he had koi fish in a little pond. He had all these beautiful flowers in this beautiful garden. And something caught my eye after we were feeding the fish for a minute. Something caught my eye off in the corner. The sunlight had hit this tree and this bush. It wasn't a tree. It was a bush, right? And it had all these silver leaves on it, which were actually they were seed pods that were transparent, and they when the sun hits them, they reflect the sunlight. And I was amazed by this bush that reflected the sunlight. And he said, "This is my money tree." And then he handed me one of the little seed pods, and he said, "If you go home and bury this in the ground, it will grow up and you'll have your own money tree." And so that idea stuck in my mind all these years. I'm now 50 years old, and that idea had stuck in my mind, and I just wrote a book about that. And then I also learned this method of investing called the Burley method, which I'll show in the next slide. So basically, the Burley method is that I translated it as a fidget spinner model, right? You hold the center of the fidget spinner and you can spin it like this. How you build wealth through this model is that you are the person that creates the action. You're the catalyst that makes everything work, right? So you don't have to have your own money. You don't have to have experience. You don't have to have, all these things like most people tell you that you need to save up for retirement, right? They say you got to work 40 hours at a job for 40 years and save up, and at the end you'll have a nest egg in your 401k, your IRA, those type of things. Well, you can build up a nice portfolio of income and a cash flow that comes in every month by partnering with other investors who have the cash, other people's money, right? That have the cash. You find the investor, you find the asset for the investor. They purchase that asset, then you sell that property. You buy the property from the seller, and then you find a buyer for that property, but you do it in a lease option format. And the key is that the asset can't cost more than the actual value that you can get for your lease option. And so you wouldn't want to buy $1 million house where you have to rent it out for $7,000 a month, because there's very few people out there that can afford the $7,000 per month to lease a property that's worth millions of dollars. So obviously we can't have the top of the line properties out there to rent out. And then most of the people that would rent a $7,000 property would actually, qualify to buy this multi-million dollar house, right? So that being said, we find low to middle end houses that have good equity spreads, and we partner with investors to give them safe, secure, long-term cash flows, tax benefits, and a high rate of return. And as you see, that we split the yields with them. So they get a good investment. It doesn't require their time or effort to find these investments or maintain the investment, and they can have their money grow exponentially over time. So on the right-hand side of the screen is just a more complex, detailed model of the same thing on the left side of the screen. So if you are an investor, we look for investors. So if you have a 1031 exchange there where you need to move your money into a new asset, I'd be love to talk to you. If you have a self-directed IRA and you need assets to invest your IRA money, whether it's a traditional or a Roth IRA, we can definitely move that money into an investment, and we can act as a third party. A lot of times you need a third party to do so. And then you got real estate investment hedge funds. These are pools of people that have money and they're looking for investments. I can find you high yield investments and maintain those for you. And then high income earners, these are people that make six figures or more per year, and they're looking to have their money work for them so they can work less at their career. And we offer stable, high yield, long-term investments, but we also offer short-term transactional funding as well for investments. So we do single-family residents, and we also do business acquisitions. There's 3.5 million businesses up for sale, so there's a lot of opportunities out there for purchasing a business. The nice thing about businesses is they naturally cash flow, right? Otherwise, they wouldn't be in business. Same thing with single-family residents. Again, you have to buy them right and then maintain them correctly so that they cash flow. But we're experts at that, so partner with us. Simply go to gallanroberts.com, set up a phone call with me, and I can walk you through the process and get you started with that. I'm also looking for people who want to be representatives. I have this brochure here, and what we do is we help seniors get placed into long-term care, fully funded, right? We help them fund their long-term care because it costs between $4,000 and $8,000 a month to get into long-term care. So that being said, if you are the person that has the heart for meeting with seniors in your local community and you want to help them get into long-term care and have it fully funded without the worry of having to pay anything back or to come up with the capital to fund their long-term care in their time of need, then I want to talk to you. Just go to gallanroberts.com, set up a phone call with me, and by clicking the button that says set up a discovery call. And I would love to talk to you. It doesn't cost anything to get involved with this, and you can make up to $5,000 to $10,000 per month, and I can show you step by step. There's training and brochures and stuff that I can share with you via the phone. All right. So that being said, now one of the ways that you can start cash flowing right away on the internet is by setting up different frameworks. So I teach frameworks in my course. I have a free mini course. If you go to gallanroberts.com and click that first link, you can see that I have a framework and I have a mini course there, and you can download this spreadsheet here, which is the top 100 affiliate programs that you can start promoting. All you do is you click on these links and you go to the bottom of the page where it says affiliate program. You sign up for each individual affiliate program, and then you can create your list just like this and start promoting your own programs. Also in here, I show you in the training, I show you how to use different software packages on here, digital products, and how to make money with those using different strategies or frameworks. So step one is go to G. Allan Roberts. One of the frameworks is talking to local businesses and setting them up on a CRM, which is what this slide's about. Now, if you want to start promoting your affiliate program, I highly recommend that you start a YouTube channel, that you start doing short videos. On Facebook, they're called Reels. On YouTube, they're called Shorts. And then on you got Instagram Reels, and you also have TikTok videos. And you can start promoting and creating these videos because they get hundreds or even thousands of views very, very quickly. And you can get started very quickly. And also, you should start building a YouTube channel to also get traffic. And then in the course, I talk more about how you can set up your own branded content around your personal brand and how you should point everybody back to your brand. So I point everybody back to gallanroberts.com. That's where you can learn all this information and go deeper with that. And also talk about email marketing and how really that's how you make money with this whole program. So you drive traffic into your funnel, and then you make value videos or training videos on how to do certain things, right? So that's what I'm doing here. And then you have pitch them into that product. So again, we go back to that list here, right? The top affiliate programs. Right? So you download this list, and then you teach people how to use these different products to make money, right? And then they purchase the product, and you get paid a little bit, and it's a win-win situation. So that's basically how you do it, and that's how you create a higher EPC or earnings per lead through email marketing, and that's the key to this program. So if you want my full mini training, go to gallanroberts.com and sign up for my full mini course. And also you can sign up for the pro version. That's where I go into more detail. And there's also group coaching on there as well. And you'll see all that on my website. Once you click this top link right here, it will walk you through the whole process of getting involved in this whole process. So, and then you also see on there this discovery call. So if you're an investor or you want to interested in helping seniors get placed into long-term care, fully funded, then set up a discovery call with me, and I'll be glad to talk to you. All right, so I hope that walked you through the rabbit hole um, of this FTX Ponzi scheme, blow up, crash, whatever you want to call it, and and I just hope that I just want to give you hope that you can recover from this if you were involved and lost your money in this Ponzi scheme. There are ways to make money through real estate, through business acquisitions, through affiliate marketing, and YouTube, those type of things. So if you want to learn more about doing that, go ahead, go to my website, gallanroberts.com, and do that. Also, if you enjoyed this training and this video, click on this video that's on your screen right here and see what else I have to talk to you about. All right. See you in the next one.